Honorable Mayanja ordered for my arrest in December, and I've been on police bond until they got tired of me, and they said, "We shall call you when we need you." The most depressing time in my life, and I'm happy to be telling the whole world about what miserable experiences I've had in the recent days under the hands of those who should have known better. My names are Dr. Apollo Kagwa. I'm a retired senior consultant physician. I've been a doctor in this country for 50 years. And as part of my retirement arrangements, I had made myself a farm at Kakunyu, Nsekwa in Wakiso district. And I thought I would have a quiet life as I grow older. I'm not a politician. I've seen politics, but I was just a practical man hustling it out here and there. Fellow citizens, what I went through in the last 1 week under the hands of Minister Mayanja, the State Minister for Land, should never happen to any other Ugandan. My retirement home was maliciously invaded by a group of goons, over 500, led by a whole minister, to come and destroy all my property under the guise of resettling evictees from my land. I've been on this land for the last 30 years. I'd settled everybody who had Pivanya holding on that land. I gave all this evidence to police, to Mayanja, to AntiCorruption Unit. These are people who don't listen because they are semi-gods in this country today. I was fully investigated as I made my statement at Wakiso Police Station, and I brought out all the evidence that whatever the minister was going by was untrue. I even made an effort to see the minister, Minister Mayanja, that he was being duped by land fraudsters. But the minister could not listen because he is for people, except for people like me. Despite the report from Wakiso Police Station, Honorable Mayanja refused to accept their report and instead referred me to AntiCorruption Unit for further evidence, which I humbly did, although there was nothing corrupt about what I did in my life. There is nothing corrupt about what I did in my life. Except along the way, 3 weeks after I had given all the evidence to anti-corruption, they told me to hand in all my original documents for 2 weeks so that the original documents can be investigated by police. I thought this was ridiculous. And I told these chaps off that I can never give them my originals unless I'm going to take them immediately after they've viewed them. If not, let them take any matters they want to create against me to police, and I'll go to court and give my original documents. But I cannot go so low as to give them my original document, which is the only thing that I am clinging on to show my ownership of property. If they had been bribed to take or to make them disappear, I would then have no proof of ownership for whatever property I have. And they felt I was a bit uncooperative, and I could not cooperate. And up to now I can't cooperate to that direction. But fortunately, on second thought, the report of the anti-corruption team took some time to come out, and on personal reflection, I decided that I write to Brigadier General Isoke of Anti-Corruption, Director of Anti-Corruption Unit, apologizing for my original stand, and I wanted him to give me an appointment so that we can arrange to give him my original documents for scanning and immediate taking home, not leaving them with their office. I wrote that letter to Isoke on the 30th of June, 29th of June, and I'd given a copy to Honorable Mayanja. Honorable Mayanja, as he had suggested. Unfortunately, Mayanja, on the 30th, generated a directive to the RDC of Wakiso calling for a meeting on the 4th of July so that they can celebrate his giving away of my land to his ghost Pivanya holders. I'm making this point very clear. These are ghost Pivanya holders, because Mayanja is one who has escalated the land theft in Wakiso and perhaps elsewhere, deliberately working with land grabbers. I don't need to go very far. The evidence is on my farm. And I'm willing to have a public debate or even public argument, whatever it is, with Mayanja on this matter. The man is a lawyer, but with no principles. What he did to me is not a matter of politics. It is not a matter of law. It is a matter of apparent madness, political madness. I'm a doctor, I can make a diagnosis. If somebody is mad with power, I may also know he's mad with power. Honorable Mayanja accelerated the giving away of my land on the 4th of July. When he wrote to the RDC of Wakiso, he never even had the courtesy of giving me a copy of that letter. Up to now, I've never been given a copy of the anti-corruption report against me. As my land had been given away to ghost Pivanya holders, surveyors, government surveyors were used to give away my land without even inviting me to my, to my locus. This kind of impunity should never happen to any other Ugandan. And for that matter, quite frankly, I would call upon Mayanja to immediately resign as a Minister of Land. He has shown the highest level of incompetence to a man who still has some, I'm not yet dementia, I'm a senior citizen, but dementia has not yet set in. I still understand my surroundings, and I don't want any other Ugandan to suffer in the hands of Mayanja. If Mayanja thinks he has a point, I'm calling upon him to go to the media and tussle it out to the public. If he doesn't want to resign, let him come and meet me in the media and we discuss this matter to the public, and the public then decides. My land was grabbed only when we need you. Typical Wakiso style of land grabbing today. As soon as the land was given away, trail graders started grading my land. The most interesting thing is Mayanja is quite a character. Whereas I've got a formal gate into my farm, Mayanja led his goons through the side, breaking into the fences, removing all the poles, removing all the chain link, removing all the barbed wire, and they cut down all my trees. Then they started grading. They slashed all my crops and stole or killed all my animals. I can't even believe that a man of his character could do such a thing to an old man like me at the age of 75, when I thought my remaining years would be a bit calmer than my earlier years in life.
Before you continue, your properties which you destroyed plus the animals and everything, it is worth how much if you sum
I've got to continue. I cannot tell the value because I was chased away from the farm and the destruction is still continuing.
We are talking about an estimate.
An estimate? Ooh, Mayanja will quickly give me about 50 billion shillings. 50 billion shillings. And I still go back to my land. He will have to give, because on the farm, my farm was a model farm. I've picked up all the pieces of advice for farmers. I've got cattle, goats, sheep, geese, chicken. I am also a fish farmer. I can hatch. I was hatching both catfish and tilapia, but everything has been vandalized. To the extent,
the fish ponds?
The fish ponds have been drained, the fish have died, all the chain link I put around has been vandalized. You people don't, it is better you go to the farm and see what a man can do to a fellow man, other than come to interview me in town. You just go to my farm and see what a whole minister can do to bring down somebody's development. So for that matter, all I can say is that I'm not being political, but I'm being realistic. All I want is Mayanja to give me remedies for my damages, and he should resign in public disgrace, because this is something which cannot be expected of a man of his character. He has got a PhD. In what? If you cannot practice law, if you are a lawyer, practice law. If you cannot practice law and fairness on fellow people, I don't know. Maybe that's for the public to judge and the appointing authorities to consider. But between me and the public, I'm willing to take on Mayanja in a public debate for his disgrace in this very important public office.
You said you don't know anybody of the 11 people who are installed on the land. You said they are all post Pivanya holders.
I'm trying to make a summary of a very long story. The nature of my land is such that it is a bit of a longish piece of land. Okay? Now, whereas I started a farm on one end of the piece of land, there was an area where there were all kinds of characters playing their role, particularly the LCs. The LCs have also been very unfair to me, to prevent me ownership on land that belongs to me, because they were selling them. They were selling plots to people who are unknown to me. But I didn't want to start struggling over who owns what. I knew land can never be stolen. And in fact, up to now, I know land cannot be stolen. But thieves will always inconvenience you on land. Like Kampala cannot be stolen. But if you come carelessly to Kampala, you may have your pocket cut. And Lukwag will not give you a plot because they've cut your pocket in Kampala. So, in Wakiso, the game of land stealing has become an epidemic to the extent that land theft is one of the tricks people can make good money these days. Now, what happened, to cut the long story short, is that some time back, some people are challenging my ownership of the land. And I got proof, documents, and the Land Protection Unit of Kibuli went to the ground. State House Land Protection Unit also went to the ground. We had rallies on the ground, and people got to know that actually I was the owner of my land. But because of some recent encroachment on the land, after some community meetings, it was agreed that to harmonize our relationship, to be better, I have an office nearby. So I built and created an office at Wakiso, at my farm. So we're in the process of getting to be familiar with people who are on the land. Some people are there genuinely. But most of those who are there genuinely, I settled some 20, 30 years ago, and they went away. The more recent occupants have a lot of stories to make. And I was in the process of verifying them in my office, and the truth was coming out slowly that some people were sold air because they never consulted me when they bought their Vivanjas. Now, as I was closing in on these people, they hatched the idea of making an outcry to the minister that I was threatening to evict them. And when they did so, I was happy because I thought the minister would solve some of these problems, because there are laws of land. There are land laws. So I thought the minister would be a good mediator in making us coexist. Unfortunately, the minister has changed character in the more recent years. And these people went to the minister and the RDC, promising them big chunks of land on my land. This I can't say is hearsay. It is from what you can see when you visit my destroyed farm. You'll understand that I'm telling the truth. Today, the minister, instead of coming down to verify the facts on the ground, he came down emotionally, perhaps almost indicating that he had personal interest on my land. You know, when you have a conflict, somebody comes in a conflict, neutrality becomes essential. But if you come one-sidedly, in a sensitive matter that needs a bit of time and discussion, I think you undermine your neutrality in the matter. So, as we stand now, we have made SOS calls at the Cabinet Minister for Land, Nabakova, Judith Nabakova. We have been to the Prime Minister's office. We have been to the office of the Presidency. We have, in the past, written to the Speaker, because this same matter came on the floor of Parliament. And we've also made an appeal to the President to enter this, so that he can see how political enthusiasm without brains can be very harmful. I think that will come to you later. Many things are taking place. I am not so sure what decisions are going to be taken in the near future. But as far as I'm concerned, I want peace on my piece of land. Right now, I have no food. All my food crops have been destroyed and all my animals destroyed. I need an income which has been interrupted by this assault on my property. I need security, because my battle is not only with the minister, the RDC of Wakiso, with whom they work in partnership over these land matters. I'm also throwing a stone at the rampant land grabbers who are almost everywhere. So I need security. I need some financial support. And I want to restore my farm to where it used to be. I will need the public to give me their prayers and their support while we are trying to restore normality after all this chaos. And as I talk now, I've been rendered a destitute, a homeless destitute, by a person who calls himself Honorable and Doctor Sam Mayanja. I can answer any other questions, because there are so many other things that that I may have to answer later. But generally, I would like to thank you very much for your coming, and I hope informing the public will also help clear my name, which has been so tarnished by Mayanja, thinking he's the only one with a name. Other people have no names. I'm also Dr. Kagwa. I have a name which he has tried to spoil, like I'm a rascal who breaks people's houses, things which are not true. At some point, people must talk the truth. I know in politics you tell lies sometimes, but you have to you have to tell the truth at some point too. So thank you very much for your coming. Now, if there is any specific questions,
you didn't disclose that.
235. Actually, I've not done the arithmetic. I just know that's my land, that's my land, that's my land. 235 or 250, something like that. Because each plot is different size. Yeah.
How much of this have they taken and deprived you from?
The LC across the hill, with impunity, sold away nearly 100, maybe 150 acres with impunity. And I want them investigated. I want them investigated.
This is the LC1 chairman selling?
Yes.
In which period? In 1 year, 10 years?
It is over this period, even up to now, they are still selling. Even up to now, they are selling.
You were too rich to
I wish I was rich, but when you say I'm rich, I'm not going to say I'm poor, because maybe I'm rich, it is okay.
Like how many villages are in that
The villages, there are four villages, because it's a thin piece of land which goes and meanders over some hills like that. So there are 4 villages. There is Kapunyu, Mavombwe, Nsekwa, and then Musisi. Just touching, Musisi. Just touching bits, they are not complete villages. Yeah. On Sunday, in Sunday Vision, there was a photograph on the front page of a house that had been demolished, allegedly by me. And there was somebody...
That picture which had the minister?
Yes, that house. That was on my land.
That's your house?
That's... Okay, no. I'll tell you the story. Now, there was a man kneeling before Mayanja, begging him to save him from being evicted. And Mayanja used that for his propaganda to show that I've broken down houses. A completely untrue story. That house was quoted out of context. You know, land theft in Wakiso has evolved in phases. One of the phases has been for people to build houses at night, and by morning you find it's already roofed. And then the owners of that house come and say, Are you familiar with this kind of story? Now,
but I thought it's what the minister has been fighting against.
Yes.
And not promoting.
Wait, I think the minister has changed the color. But maybe one can call it chameleon.
He has also evolved.
Yeah, he's also evolving. Now, the land eviction is now being, people are riding on land eviction to steal land. People come and make groups, and they go and see the minister. They are always the victims. The rich people are driving us crazy. They are driving us out of our place. So the minister maybe becomes emotionally attached, affected, and they do it. They now do it professionally. from Nasana. There's the University of Land Theft in Uganda, Nasana area, where they plan how to stage manage the presence of a political dignitary in order to make gains on property which does not belong to them. As a matter of fact, we had a meeting in December where I told the minister that the politicians are not helping us much on these land issues. I personally, although my name is Dr. Apollo Kagwa, I didn't inherit land from, I don't belong to the Apollo Kagwa family. I'm a peasant who wanted me to become as big as Apollo Kagwa. So they put my names together to become Apollo Kagwa. Me, the land I got is out of my own sweat.
You're not related to the Kagwas?
I'm not related to the Kagwas, okay? I'm not related to the Kagwas. So, I told the minister that whereas evicting people is not fair, particularly these days, evicting people, we have put storied houses, we have put permanent houses on somebody's land. It's not fair, because people who used to evict in the past were having mud and wattle, grass-thatched houses. You can be evicted here and you build a house there. Natural resources are not involved. But now you find a whole big slum of permanent houses which have taken resources in terms of iron sheets, cement, glass, and you can't evict people. You can't evict people. But there could be a way of coexisting, like the spirit of Pivanya and landlord was brought in the spirit of coexisting. But with land theft of today, the Pivanya holders have become more powerful, and even they are richer than the landowners, because they sell things which don't belong to them, and they move on without being harassed or without even accounting for their act. They just go and say, I'm a Pivanya person, and we accept. I think there should be a way of tightening the thing. But before I forget, I think land matters are not being handled properly. If they can give people who practice homosexuality 20 years in prison, I think those who commit fraud on land should be given 50 years in prison. I think that will bring to an end the era of land theft overnight. But so long as people are being taken to police and they get bonds, and this is going to be an ever-increasing problem. I think the laws on land need to be tightened, and the politicians handling land matters should stop inciting people. You can do your work well without inciting people into violence. I'm making this statement deliberately, strongly, because if you think I'm mincing words, come to my farm and you see what incitement can do. And if he incited all Ugandans to behave like the minister incited people to behave on my farm, this country will be ruined in one day. In one day. And all the efforts people are making for developing the country are useless. So incitement should not be there. Let them tighten the rules or the laws governing land fraud, because land fraud can cause a lot of damage to property, loss of property and finances, can even cause people to spill blood or kill each other. And these bad trends should not be propagated at a ministerial level. That one is something you expect a very lowly person to do, but a minister to behave like well, I don't know, because a minister is a worker, he's on a salary. He's nobody. I'm somebody. I am a senior citizen. I've worked for this country. I've been a doctor for 50 years. And whatever I've got, I deserve because I've worked. A minister is on ledger. Tomorrow you can be fired. But I'm calling for Mayanja to resign. I'm calling for Mayanja to resign because this example is not good enough for another Ugandan. And I hope the press takes this as advice from the very bottom of my heart. I'm not a politician, but if some of my good ideas die with me, I think I would have also done this country a disservice.
Doctor.
The house was built as a way of grabbing land. There was a bush between where we had developed and where the house is. The house was built at night, and all of a sudden we saw it being roofed. That house is a recent development because the people who built that house wanted to use it to claim a Pivanya there, which Pivanya they did not have. And some of the people who were involved in this house had a cemetery nearby, and we were in the process of seeing whether we could cordon off the cemetery or I could get money and pay them to go away. So this house has never even been inhabited, because as soon as I found it, I stopped anybody doing any further work. It was not fully finished. Now, through Minister Mayanja's incitement of December last year, he incited people to attack my farm. And that house was one of the damages which was done that day. The records are there. We have got pictures, okay? That house was damaged among my other houses which were damaged, and my fence which was cut through the incitement of Mayanja. Now he turns around to say, I'm the one who brought down that house. Let him tell me, if I brought down that house and these people have been living there, who was living in that house and where is he now living? That house was built by people who wanted to grab land. In fact, they went further. They went further. They opened a case against me claiming Pivanya holding of 7 acres in Kakiri without my knowledge. We are in Wakiso. Kakiri is a different jurisdiction. They went, they had a case, had ex parte without my knowledge. I was never invited to that case. And the case in, the magistrate in Kakiri gave these people ownership of 7 acres of land, and they asked me to pay them something like, was it 20 million shillings, 200 million shillings, and many other things. And the judgment was brought to me by the bailiff who was coming to arrest me, to squeeze 200 million shillings out of me. What am I saying? The issue of land in Wakiso has become very complicated. The police is involved in the crookedness of the matter. The lower courts are also involved. Now the big politicians like Mayanja are also involved. It has become a bit more complicated. But that house was brought as an excuse one who called, it was a propaganda picture, showing Mayanja on the in better light to the
higher
public.
Moral standing. Higher moral standing.
Giving Mayanja a higher moral standing on something which was totally scandalous. Totally scandalous. I don't know. I was trying to cover a very wide area within a very short period, but we shall give specific.
We can add on.
Add on because the story is still going to unfold. Okay.
But Doctor, you mentioned you've been to senior minister, to prime minister, speaker.
Yeah.
Written to the president, minister of presidency. How much have all of these people been able to do for you at all?
At the moment, not much. They are still studying the situation. They want to get the facts. But the police has helped to keep some presence. But the police has been kind of too hate. There was the police from AntiCorruption Unit, which was kind of protecting the people who are vandalizing my things. Then there was police from Wakiso, which appeared to be protecting where my houses were. And I think there were many other security players on the scene. Their respective roles are not quite clear to me. But I think as the situation is studied further, the truth will come out.
So have you had some audience with the Prime Minister, with the Speaker, with the Vice Senior Minister, or you've just written letters?
I've written letters, but I've had personal contact with the Prime Minister, who instituted an investigation which started on Monday. I brought in my papers, and I think the discussion is still going on in the Prime Minister's office.
She has put together a team to look into this.
Yeah, she presented me to his office at Council Kawa to handle the investigations and finding an appropriate solution to this. In Land Office, I've seen Judith Nabakova, Honorable Judith Nabakova. Apparently she's also catching up with the facts, both on the ground and the facts of the matter, what really happened. I talked to Babaranda. I rang her to make an appointment, but she told me that she had had some communication to Mayanja, but in the end, I don't know how far that communication has gone. I've been to the IGP, Deputy IGP, who is fully aware of what is happening.
This is
General Kasigazi is fully aware of what is happening.
You had the audience with him?
Yeah, I've had I've had audience with him in the past, but in more recent circumstances, I've just been communicating on phone, updating him on what is happening. But the police has been, I found the system is a bit weak in handling big people like ministers. Once people hear a minister, they don't want to come in because the power of the minister is very big, and everybody says go higher. We can't manage that. Go higher. So we're in the clouds there. We don't know where we are going to end.
But they see the truth, but
they see the truth, but they can't resolve. Minister, no. You go to court, you want to open a case against a minister. Minister, no. So we are there in the clouds. We don't know where we're going. Honorable Mayanja ordered for my arrest in December, and I've been on police bond until they got tired of me, and they said, "We shall call you when we need you." I was not strong-hearted. I will now look for. I'll just say, this world has defeated me. Let me go to the next world, because once things become too complicated for you in this world, you may decide to go to the next world instead.
So at some point, do you intend to sue Honorable Mayanja as a person, maybe for defamation, tarnishing your name?
If Mayanja retires, we can discuss. But if he doesn't retire, I'm going to sue him for a lot of money. Including
the defamation, the property you have lost?
The lawyers will use the words. Will determine what but whatever is done to me should never happen to any other Uganda.
When have you last talked? Have you ever talked to him at all?
I talked to him about 2 or 3 days. He came to the farm on the 4th of December, and 2 days later, a few days later, I went to his office to tell him that he was on the wrong track. He had been surrounded by land grabbers who had misguided his directives. And he just, I understand everything. You write to me, and write to the RDC and give a copy to me. Then I told him, that's ridiculous. You are the one who gave the directives. So I have to write to you because you made the wrong directives. And then give a copy to the RDC. Say, no. So just leave him to do his own things.
That was the last time?
That's the very last time I talked to him.
Even on the phone you don't talk?
I've sent him tapes from my farm, the destruction of my farm. I've sent him so that he knows what he has done.
At his office?
I've sent him WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp?
On WhatsApp, so that he sees what harm he has done to my farm.
Has he replied?
I have to check whether he's replied now. I have to check.
Kubanga omusajja mukulu munno mulinga abalina akakuka mwaka emabega mwalinako empala n'emabega eyo.
No, he is a bright man. He talks brightly if he wants to be bright, but he's acting foolish. He's acting foolish. I can tell you this. He's acting foolish.
You said people have promised to share some land with him and RDC.
That's what I hear. That's what you hear. They say, Dr. Kako, you know, they say, Bano Baba wadeda, bagawanyeda etaka. And somehow you get suspicious. Okay, you have a large piece of land. You are going to give some 11 peasants some piece of land. How come there were over 500 people? How come the various graders came rolling in? Even before they've identified where the various Pivanya holders, claimants were. Why all this excitement of grading? Now, I think that is a very primitive way of trying to scare somebody off his property. Does it mean when you grade my land, you have stolen my land? Or does it mean when you have built a house on my land, then you have stolen my land? It doesn't mean that. So at the end of the day, I think the excitement of the matter shows there is some financial benefit which might have been happening. I cannot verify properly.